Hello everyone and welcome to another video review from 3dgamingman.com. I'm Rodney Reynolds and today I'm having a look at the Be Quiet Dark Power Pro 11 550 watt power supply. Now this thing looks incredible. Build quality is exceptional. It comes with a quiet fan, quality power, and it's semi-modular. A great looking, very informative box that has pictures as well as features and specifications on it. On the inside, they include a user's manual, the power supply, which is on the right side. And on the left side in this box, they include the modular leads, a power cord, 8 screws, 4 regular ones and 4 thumb screws, plastic and Velcro cable ties, 4 fan leads, an overclocking switch, and also an overclocking jumper. Now the Dark Power Pro 11 line is currently available in a lot of wattages, ranging from 550 all the way up to 1200, so you can definitely choose a power supply for your particular needs. Now I'll be reviewing the 550 watt model, and while this is 550 watts, it does peak out at 610 watts. Now let's quickly go through the specs. After that, I'll have a closer look. First though, let's go over how the wattage is determined. And to understand that, we need to talk about rails. Rails are basically well-regulated transformers which convert domestic current into the voltages that your computer system can use. And there are essentially 2 different rails, the 3.3/5 volt rail and the 12 volt rail. Now in this particular case, the approximate maximum peak output of the 3.3/5 volt rail is 110 watts and the 12 volt is 540 watts. And note that the 3.3/5 volt rail is responsible for the motherboard, memory, PCI cards, and so on, while the 12 volt rail is responsible for the hard drives, optical drives, fans, CPU, video cards, etc. It's also important to know the peak amps on each rail. The plus 3.3 volt rail is 25 amps and the 5 volt rail is 22 amps. And it has 4 plus 12 volt rails. 1 and 2 are 20 amps and 3 and 4 are 25 amps. Now, as already mentioned, it does have this overclocking switch as well as the overclocking jumper. I'll show you how that works in just a minute. And with that, you can convert that quadruple plus 12 volt rail setup into a single rail configuration. Now in all my power supply video reviews, I do go through the things that are important to remember when selecting one. If you've heard it before, you can skip this section, although I do have some specific info in here about this particular model, so you might want to hang around. Of course, the first thing you want to consider is wattage. Determine how much wattage you are actually going to require by the amount of hardware that you will be installing. Now, generally speaking, a medium to high-end gaming rig would require a 500 to 700 watt power supply, so this power supply would be perfect for that. For a hardcore system, select a power supply that's around 800 watts. If, however, you are building an extreme gaming rig with a top-of-the-line multiple video card setup with lots of other hardware, select a power supply that's 1000 watts or greater. And really, Be Quiet has you covered here with so many power supplies in this particular series, again, ranging from 550 watts all the way up to 1200 watts. Second, it should be at or above 80% efficiency, and this power supply's efficiency is up to 94%, which of course ultimately means saving on energy. And speaking of energy, this power supply, when it's in standby mode, only drains 0.15 watts. It also meets the Energy Star 6.0 guidelines, fulfills the ERP 2014 guidelines, and the Zero Load design supports Intel's Deep Power Down C6 and C7 modes. Third, it should meet the latest ATX and other current standards, environmental directives, over voltage, under voltage, and other protections, and this power supply meets all current standards. Fourth, I'd recommend choosing a power supply that has APFC. APFC, or active power factor correction, assists the power supply in being more efficient and therefore stable under load. APFC basically reduces total harmonics, corrects input voltage, and it allows for full input voltage range, and thankfully this power supply has APFC. Now, fifth, there are 3 main certifications: 80, 80 plus NVIDIA SLI and AMD Crossfire, and many of today's high-end power supplies will meet one or more of these certifications. This power supply meets the 80 plus Platinum certification. 6. Look for a power supply that uses Japanese capacitors because it does ensure a more reliable product than a power supply with low-grade capacitors. So don't get a power supply like, for example, that has Chinese capacitors on the inside. It's not recommended. Taiwanese is not so bad, but get one like this, really, that has Japanese capacitors because it will definitely ensure that it's going to last for quite a while. And I found that a lot of these cheap power supplies that have, cheap caps on the inside, they'll start to buzz and hum and do all kinds of crazy stuff. And of course, if a power supply fails, it could really ruin your system. Finally, get a power supply that has enough leads for your setup. Also consider one that has a modular design because it will reduce the cable mess inside of the case. Also, super important to get a power supply with a fantastic warranty, and this one comes with a 5-year warranty. This is definitely one of the prettiest looking power supplies you can get. It's just gorgeous. The build quality is excellent. They've got kind of like rubber bumpers here on either end. I mean, look at it. Beautiful looking power supply that comes with a very quiet 135 millimeter fan. There's lots of ventilation holes. Here's where the power cable gets connected, and they do include a power switch. And at the back are all of the modular connectors. Plus, here's where you would connect those fan leads, and the overclocking switch can be connected here as well. And look at how the hardwired cable comes out of the power supply. A testament again to the overall excellent build quality. And by the way, this is the 24-pin main motherboard lead. And have a look at all of the other leads and note the fantastic sleeving job. Okay, so the overclocking switch, how does it work? Well, first you'd install this in the case's expansion slot, and then you'd connect this into the power supply. And if you wanted a single plus 12 volt rail, then you would flip the switch. Alternatively, you could just use the included jumper. Like the other power supplies in the Dark Power Pro 11 series, this one is really good. I think it's one of the sharpest looking power supplies out there as well. The quality of power is exceptional. It is semi-modular, comes with a quiet 135 millimeter fan, and there's lots of stuff included in the box. Overall, this is a 100% kick-ass product. Until next time, take care. Well, that's it, but I hope you enjoyed the review. And if you think this and other videos that I produce are great, please like them, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, your comments are very welcome, and if you have any questions, let me know.